All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like there is a mild problem right now. As you guys see, this is in fact not this typical game heart overlay. I don't know what happened. Maybe when I was in Toronto, somehow like the settings got saved on Battle.net and they were like, oh, this isn't the game heart. Like this isn't the location for game heart, and they just reset everything. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be jumping into it regardless.
EU, man. We're just catering to our EU viewers, baby.
Yeah, exactly. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and hop into it. Spawning up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have the yellow Zerg player. Give it up for game time.
And on the other side, we have our Psystorm Blue Terran. It is RuFF. Hey, you know what, Fear Dragon? We may not have game heart, but we do got game time.
Oh, snap.
So that's all that matters.
I thought you were going to say, but we do have heart. But you know, RuFF has more than heart. RuFF has balls of steel. He's not afraid to do anything, including just immediately, straight off the bat, going for the Reaper, but also the Proxy Factory.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Because why? Because RuFF.
Because
now,
RuFF. That's pretty much all you need to know.
Exactly. We do have game time going for what I believe was a hatch gas third hatchery, and no, hatch pool gas, no, and then no gas, which is sort of interesting. And this, I don't know if this is going to complicate things.
Well, he's not going to have the gas in order to potentially like get roaches and ravagers, depending on what this is going to be. Like if, say, let's say, whoa, it's a reactor here on the factory, and he's building a starport right next to it. So it could be some weird proxy liberator because he is banking quite a bit of gas at the moment.
Oh, this is so interesting. Game time coming in over here with the Overlord is going to see the 2 Marines, is going to see a Reaper, but is he actually going to realize that there's no expansion behind this? In fact, that the factory was proxied. I mean, it's sort of weird to see, especially on this map, to not see the factory next to the barracks and not see the barracks building a reactor.
Yeah, that's definitely something weird, and it could be anything, like say he put the factory and hid it in his base and he was doing like a Banshee play. But I mean, that's not typically the kind of setup for it. So I'm wondering, do you even think of the possibility of a proxy though? You're just like, oh, who's gonna proxy it, right?
Oh, Reaper does get in over here, does get killed off, but got 3 kills, 2 worker kills, and oh my god, this factory is going to do the most aggressive landing inside the base, but this queen from Game Time may be able to block it. The Zerglings get the block.
Oh wow, and this factory shouldn't be able to do too much, but the Liberators will.
Yeah. One of the queens is actually pretty far off of creep right now.
Yep. Double liberation zone, one on the mineral line and the other possibly gonna get the queen, but it looks like she will survive. And oh, the creep, that's the true hero.
Oh my god. Planting down the creep tumor. No factory shenanigans coming down over here. Transfuse goes down. Queen's going after this liberator. One of the queens is gonna end up falling over here. 2 of the queens might end up falling. Actually, that almost seems like it may have been worth it for RuFF, but he still needs to do more worker damage.
Yeah, he even made some Vikings that he's going to be landing over here. That's a little bit new. I thought he was going to go Overlord hunting, but he's harassing with them instead. And what is going on right now? As roaches are in production here for game time. Is that the answer, though?
Oh my god.
Though.
I think the factory's found a place to land, though, and start potentially producing Widow Mines or Hellions? What is it going to be, RuFF? What is it going to be?
Oh my. Well, I guess the only thing that I'm a bit worried about is going to be the attack at home, or the attack that would be made from game time after all of this is done. Yeah. Limited production in the base of RuFF, but he has quite a bit of Marines here, and is starting to add a few more barracks.
Oh my god. Are the Vikings going to be able to take out this hatchery? It's getting very low. The Vikings are going to have to retreat back. They really do need to consider lifting off over here against all of these roaches. I'm not really sure I'm a fan of this trade, but he does end up finally lifting off. More Vikings coming in the mix. I never thought I would see the aggressive landed Viking attack tempo.
I don't know what's going on right now. This is pretty awesome, though, and I am glad that it is going to be the first game that we end up casting. Only thing that I do worry about is that will the other ones live up to it, too?
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. Right now, we have RuFF starting to really fade away from that aggression. It's going to be a very difficult to make a whole lot more happen besides maybe supply blocking game time at this point. But at the same time, Game Time has a substantial worker lead of 52 to 31. He's sitting on 3 bases. He saved his main base hatchery from the Viking counterattack. Like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Something that was not expected. And if he did get the hatchery, I think RuFF would have been in a much better spot. But do keep in mind that he stopped a lot of mining from the main for a very long time. And it might not have mattered because... he might have just brought the drones over to the 3rd, you know, and then saturated those first. But this is another attack. What is going on? Vikings are going to take out a Spore Crawler, which is like the opposite of what you would expect.
Yeah, but if these roaches are going to be moving into the liberation zones, and suddenly the Vikings, if they even just bait the roaches over there, yeah, they're going to be able to get these pickoffs, and slowly but surely, they're going to be able to whittle away at this hatchery. This might actually be able to take out, I would say the 3rd, but really it's the main base.
It's so close for the Queens to have transfuses. There is a transfuse, but he does not get it done. And down goes the main hatchery. Holy crap.
Well, a new expansion is being taken, but Game Time has had enough of it, and this is where I think that moment you were talking about, Tempo, is going to be coming into effect, where the roaches move across the map, and RuFF is going to have to deal with this. But look at the Marine and Marauder count he has back at home. He might not have medevacs, he might not have stim and combat shields yet, but this looks like it's going to be more than enough to hold off a handful of roaches.
Yeah, he should be all right. You know, is he getting anything else? Okay, double eBay at the same time. With that double upgrade here, for stim and combat shield, he's not gonna fall behind too hard here when he does come down to the mid game, and this should be enough bio to take out these roaches. RuFF, a solid opener that was a bit questionable at first, but only in the sense of what the hell is going on. That's the question.
I just can't get over the fact that it has been it's been almost 6 years since the Wings of Liberty beta, and these Vikings have had the ability to land and be, you know, aggressive on the ground, and people have only found very, very niche opportunities to make use of them. But RuFF, 6 years later, has found a build where he gets aggressive entirely based on Vikings that are landed.
Yep, but here come the mutas. The Spire was the choice here for Game Time. He's not going to wait for his army here. The mutas will be able to get down those Vikings before those Marines and the medevacs with the Marauders arrive.
And damn. There goes the Viking army, but Stim is going to be finishing up soon. Oh, okay, RuFF not going to continue the aggression, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have been able to take it had he realized what was going on, but I don't think he was expecting the mutas to be hitting right then. Imagine if the Liberators were there and he was able to kite back to the army, as well as with the Vikings. He might have been able to get something done and force out a few more units out of Game Time, but you know, sitting on 3 bases, he's going to be pretty comfortable at 53 just for the time being.
I really love how RuFF just has this starport producing the medevacs out in the corner of the map. Mutalists almost get caught a bit off guard. But Game Time is finally starting to settle in a little bit. He still hasn't grabbed a 4th expansion, but I mean, he's denying the 3rd expansion for RuFF right now.
Yeah, very important to do so.
Ooh.
Make sure that he's not going to be getting ahead in that department, but this is going to be a push out of RuFF. There are a good amount of roaches here, and the mutas are going to have to fight here. Fear Dragon, a lot of them are going down. I believe they are even getting targeted, but that means that the roaches will be able to get on top of the Marauders. But damn, this push, pretty decent trade.
Yeah.
Saves the medevacs as well.
I mean, right now we do end up seeing a situation where I feel like Game Time has more than enough to push back this force, as there's only 1 medevac worth of units left over, and yeah, there are a couple more units rallying their way across the map. But even though there was the double engineer, but I believe only 1 upgrade is being researched over here for RuFF, so he isn't even gonna have like a substantial upgrade advantage. +1 missile attacks is also being researched for Game Time. I kind of like Game Time's situation, like as this game goes on.
I do as well. I thought he was going to be in a lot of trouble once he did lose that main. But luckily for him, it wasn't the lair or anything like that, as he was able to recover from it pretty nicely. And it looks like he is going to go into burrowed roaches.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah. I think in general, him not going for the tanks because, I mean, the factory... I don't even know. Didn't get taken out. It never was remade.
No, it wasn't. Oh my god, you're right. That is really weird, but we do have a drop coming in at the backside over here. RuFF coming in with a couple Marauders and a handful of Marines. Going to be able to snipe off maybe some of these Queens as Transfusers are not coming down, but we do have target fire down on that Medevac at the same time. Roaches on the other side of the map. Going to be able to deny this 30. Might be able to walk their way in the main base.
Whoa, so close, but they are going to be able to get there. No detection here for RuFF, but he does have a lot of energy on those command centers. Almost a full energy on the first one, or rather natural.
There's nothing over here to defend. There's 3 Marauders and 8 Marines out on the map, but they are on the other side of the map, and even if they were at home, I don't know if they'd be doing a whole lot against this.
No, they are not. He's going to try to get some counter damage done, but he's going to pretty much lose his whole main. He's just going to forfeit it looks like.
I mean, yeah, the Liberators are killing off some of these Roaches. That's awesome to hear, RuFF, but unfortunately, you got to do something about all the Roaches in the main base and in your natural expansion. We're down to 3 workers right now for RuFF. I feel like this is probably it.
It looks to be it, Fear Dragon. I mean, RuFF is getting a decent amount of damage done on the other side, but everything at home has been lost. He was not able to utilize his 3rd command center, which may even have been a planetary, knowing RuFF.
Oh, boy.
Probably would have helped him a little bit during this time, at least.
Yeah. Ravagers and even the Spore Caller are going to be able to clean up these Liberators, and the drop is slowly but surely getting cleaned up. GG gets called, and game time going to be victorious in game number 1.
Well, that was a thing.
that happened is all I can really say about that game. Because I feel like any other statements would not necessarily be accurate. Like, I don't know what to make of that game.
It looked like it was working, though.
It did.
I don't know. I feel like if he remade the factory and started getting tanks, maybe. I don't know if he could afford it, but, like, he had, like, full energy on one of his command centers. Or orbitals, rather.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering if I would have liked to have seen him, instead of sending the factory over to, like, proxy in base. And I understand, like, it didn't work out specifically because the Queens and the Zergans are ready and prepared to deal with that. And, like, then the creep spread and everything else ended up just making it harder to do. But imagine if instead later on he kept that factory around, maybe we're producing 1 heli at a time, and after a little bit, instead of just producing more units from the reactor starport, he swapped that onto the factory and got a tech lab, got some Banshees out to support the air army. That way he wouldn't have to throw it away. Actually, you know, but the thing that killed the air army were the Mutalisks, so I don't know if that would have worked.
Yeah, he would have had to either hide them and then deal with the mutas and then surprise, but yeah, the mutas were definitely something that he had to deal with, and it makes me start to wonder at the same time just how he was going to be able to deal with that. You know, the only thing I can think of is the boosted income from the mules, and hopefully getting those double upgrades at the same time. So I don't know if he could have afforded tanks what I'm talking about, and then I wonder if he afforded Banshees, then he's not making like Liberators, like more Liberators or Vikings.
I know what you mean. It's a really hard call, but ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be hopping into game number 2 between these two players. Game number 1 was crazy enough, but I also feel like that has to have been a one-off build, right? Like, there's no way that could have been a standard thing that RuFF is going to be doing for the entire day, right? Right?
No comment.
No comment. Not going to make any predictions. That might be wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, we're heading on to Lair-like Crust. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hopping into it in game number 2 as we're going to go ahead and spawn up here in the top right-hand corner of the map on top of the yellow Zerg player who managed to take game number 1 against some weird shenanigans. Give it up for game time.
He dealt with it really well.
Yep.
Well, relatively well. But on the other side, it is the mastermind himself, the absolute maniac, GAMETIME's RuFF.
You know, one of my favorite things about RuFF is whenever I watch RuFF play, the only thing I can think is he makes me want to play Terran. He makes me want to do these builds. And those are the kind of players I feel like I can always get behind.
Me too. I want to try them out, and I feel like it just would make for a fun time. And it is one of the reasons why his stream is pretty popular, because he does stuff like that. people like to see stuff like that, and when it works, oh boy, does it look great.
Yeah, and again, like it almost worked, but oh, speaking of weird kind of things, we do have RuFF going for something that I would say is a little bit weird, but not quite as unstandard as that last game. We do have 2 quick barracks going down. We do have a fast second gas geyser as well, a really fast refinery over here for RuFF. And with a reactor coming down, I feel like we may be seeing some really, really big aggression into the Reapers.
Yeah, and instead of dropping the second racks, he's just gonna delay the first Reaper in order to double produce them from that first barracks. And I think... Oh, he's getting a reactor on the other one as well.
Yeah, I believe that in this build, and I may be wrong about this may just be a double barracks reactor Reaper, but I believe you actually end up getting 1 more barracks for the reactor. No, we're going to be seeing a factory being plopped down.
Okay, so another RuFF build. I wonder if that barracks is to make a lot more Reapers, or is he going to start going into Hellions or something like that off the back of it? But game time, he's not having any of those rough shenanigans, as he does drop down that roach warren incredibly early.
You know, it is so funny because when you're facing off against RuFF, it's kind of a question, is this game time about to try and cheese RuFF, or is game time playing ultra defensive?
I like it.
Yeah.
It's just obviously hard to know exactly what it is that RuFF is gonna throw at you. So I do recall game time is gonna get the final scout. He doesn't even know if RuFF is trying to play it standard, but he's not taking any chances, and he's gonna bring it over to RuFF's side of the map. And RuFF is not gonna really have that many units to try to deal with the roach swell. But if you can catch the roaches on the way, you can start to kite them with the KD8 charges.
Yeah, he's gonna have a decent amount of Reapers for this, and you know, he's also gonna have a couple of Hellions, so there's a bit of a question. Do you leave all of your units at home to defend, or do you try and just go for the counterattack and force your opponent to pull all the way back? As Terran, you do have that ability to just continue to hold at that wall in, but you do need some enough units behind it all to actually defend.
Well, he's luckily gonna be able to find it here, but he's going all the way back home. I would hope that he would continue to throw those bombs in order to kite, but he doesn't really care about home. How is he going to defend at home?
Ooh, he's going to be losing a couple of these Hellions, and the Reapers also, I mean, he's sending them all across the map, so I guess he's just going for the counterattack, but yeah, it's as you were saying, how do you defend at home?
It's going to be really hard, and if game time realizes that, he should just break down this wall, get a lot of SCV damage, and there's no third command or a second command center in order to drop the mules to follow it up, or any like a third command center even, right? Like,
well, this is gonna get a little bit hectic over here as the Hellions and Reapers are now on the other side of the map. They see that the natural expansion is completely barren. He's dealing with the roaches inside of his main base. There are a couple of Widow Mines that I believe popped. Only one of them managed to burrow though, and it's already on cooldown. Didn't kill anything so far.
No, it didn't, but there's no detection. If he makes a few Ravagers, he would be able to shoot them down, but now it's all about the main of game time, which is also getting ransacked. These roaches, this is what I'm talking about. Using the KD8 charges, you can still be pretty effective, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough here, Fear Dragon. This is looking pretty grim for our Psystorm Terran.
Oh, it really is. He's only got 3 Reapers left over from that push across the map, and at the end of the day, he's got 3 SCVs, not going to be enough. Game time coming out with the 2-0 lead in victory.
Yeah. That reminds me of the Day 9 saying when it's like, you know, if he's going to do weird stuff, just go effing kill him.
yeah. That is actually, that's what I was saying. Like, you know, I can't tell if game time is playing defensive. I didn't necessarily mean defensive in the sense that he was going to sit at home, but defensive in the sense that he just wasn't going to let RuFF do anything weird. Like, he just wouldn't even give him the time to do anything weird. Just like, no, I'm just going to all in you, and you're not going to get to do your, like, RuFF builds. You're not going to get to the point where you even make a starport.
Exactly. It's like a safe build, right? Because you're not going to die to anything weird like that, unless it's 2-port Banshee, but 2-port Banshee's not going to hit before that attack hits.
Yeah, absolutely. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop to a short little break. You guys are watching the Chairs4Gaming NA Cup with myself and Tempo. We'll see you guys in a bit.